Hello, everyone. I am Kelly Lynn Adams, and I am here interviewing this amazing woman. I love this woman. We actually first met on social media, and we've just kind of became really close, and I can't wait to meet her when she comes to New York. Christina Rasmussen. If you have not heard of her yet, you are about to be in for a treat. This woman is a powerhouse, and I am so honored to talk with her today because her book, Second Firsts, is coming out November 4th, and it's a topic that no one's talking about right now, and there's not a lot of light shed on this. So, Christine, I want to welcome you to this video series, and I'm so honored that you're here, and I really just want to say thank you for your time and energy.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel just good just looking at you. You have such great energy, and I'm very grateful to be here with you. And thank you for helping me spread my message. I appreciate it.
Awesome. So I want you to kind of tell us a little bit about your story, but first I just want to kind of read a lot of your accomplishments. I mean, when I came across you, I was like, wow, this woman's on fire, and she has such an important message. So your personal story, you have a personal story and fresh approach to life after loss. It really has garnered international attention. You've been featured in Women Working to Do Good in the White House blog, amazing, and was named Leading Mom in Business by Startup Nation. You also blog about life after loss on Huffington Post. One of her favorite blogs made it into the most popular list on Impact.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. And your first book, Second Firsts, Live, Laugh, and Love Again, is going to be released by Hay House, which is amazing. Like I said, November 4th. And you're also going to be opening doors to your new action-oriented nonprofit social network, The Life Starters, in early 2014. So amazing, amazing. So just for the viewers that don't know who you are, can you just tell us a little bit about your story?
Thank you so much for this great intro. When people, talk about me, I hardly recognize myself. I'm like, really? Is that me? No. The reason for that is because I'm just like everyone else. My life was turned upside down in 2003 when my 31-year-old husband was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And at 31, colon cancer is not something that happens to you. It is a very rare. This is for people who are over 50 years old. And in that moment in time, the life that I had prior to that vanished, disappeared. I literally threw up. I adored my husband. I was so in love with him. And we had a 9-month-old baby and nearly 3-year-old daughter as well. And we had just moved from California to Boston. And we were there for like 5 weeks. We had no friends, no family there. We were brand new. And he found this lump on his neck. And he said, look, hon, what is this? And I'm like, oh, let's go to the doctor. And his cancer had spread all the way from his colon all the way up here. And if you had met him, he was 6'4", extremely athletic. He would bike to work and back. Very healthy guy, handsome, good looking, smart. I mean, everything. You would never know. So you can imagine our perfect life was literally turned upside down. He lived with stage 4 for about 3.5 years. So we fought for 3.5 years to keep him alive. Hospitals, Dana-Farber every week, raising the kids while having someone very sick at the house. I don't have the words to describe my life during those years. We even flew to the Philippines to try a new drug. He nearly died there. Flew him back straight to Dana-Farber. I mean, we went through a lot of adventures. He did die in 2006, and I died with him. I really did, but I didn't know it. I didn't know that I died because, when something like this happens, you get to keep your body, you keep your life. Everything on the outside looks the same, but everything on the inside breaks and changes, and that's the duality of loss. But what I didn't know then was that because of terrible experience, I became a very strong person, someone very fearless. And when I found my way back to living fully and really having an amazing life that took years and years and years of trials and errors, I decided to go back and get everyone else, because there's millions of people stuck in a place that I call the waiting room, the place between two lives, the life they left behind and the life they're yet to have. They get stuck there and they don't even know who they are after a divorce, after a breakup, after a loss, after a job loss. They don't know, they can't even recognize themselves. And that loss literally makes their life impossible to live. Mm-hmm. And I'm here to find those people in that space that they're stuck, and help them re-enter back to the living.
Incredible. I mean, what a powerful story, and just the impact you're going to have on people, and so just talk a little bit about, like, if someone, like you said, I mean, this can be death, or
Yes.
it could be loss of a job or a relationship, a breakup, any type of loss. If someone's going through that, I mean, for you, like, how is your grieving process? Like, is there certain stages someone goes through, and like, I mean, I know it's a whole healing process, but can you talk a little bit about that whole process?
Yes, absolutely. When this terrible thing happened to me, time slowed down. I literally felt like a day was like a whole year. 5 minutes felt like a month. I mean, it was so painful and so horrible. And instead of asking myself the right questions, instead of trying to heal, I started to run away from it. And I started to keep busy. And I went back to school. And I remember I had two little babies to support. No other income was coming in. So I had to go get educated and get a job. And I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I have a master's in grief. My master's thesis was in the stages of bereavement prior to my husband dying. That's what I wanted to do. So I couldn't do that anymore at the time because I was grieving so much.
Right.
I mean, I couldn't help anyone. So I went back to school and studied business. But the reason why I'm sharing this is that I wasn't actually trying to re-enter my life and find a purpose. I was just trying to run away from the pain. Mm-hmm. And most people who go through something difficult, whether it's a breakup, whether it's a job loss, they lose a big part of their identity. They don't know who they are, and they keep trying on the same clothes over and over again. Mm-hmm. And they don't fit, but they keep trying. So they're trying to figure it out, but they're not doing it through their feelings. They're doing it by running away from it. And that's how they get stuck. And they go through this, I call this the infinite loop of loss. So they keep repeating the same patterns, and they keep looking at themselves through that grief identity. And what I mean by that is, if someone lost their job or got fired and let go, they're not sitting down and saying, okay, who am I now? What do I need to do? Do I start a business? Do I go back to school? They just lose confidence. They question their abilities. They question their skills. They question who they are. And everything becomes worse. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's the loss of losing a job. I don't even know why I'm talking about this, but the loss of losing a job is huge. Yeah. Or the loss of losing a partner, or someone cheating on you, or a divorce. I mean, I've met women who husbands left them after 20, 30 years of marriage, and they are lost completely. And instead of slowly plugging into a new life, which is part of my methodology, they get stuck and they keep trying the same things over and over again. They're not working, and they keep repeating the same patterns as well because they have no idea who they are. So through my reentry process, I help people rediscover themselves, recreate their life, rebuild their identity and their confidence, and slowly plug into the new life by using brain science and our brain. Mm-hmm. So my book is based on neuroscience.
Amazing. I mean, I know just for myself, I've experienced a ton of loss. Like I shared with you before, we were chatting a little bit before this interview. My grandfather had passed away of colon cancer. He was like a father figure to me. My uncle passed away. I mean, this was when I was, right like 20 years old or so. So I had two deaths, and then I had lost my job.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I had lost my job. I've never gotten fired before, and I
Isn't
did.
that huge?
It's huge, and it's like,
Huge.
and I went to a good school. I had a good career. I'm like,
Yes.
this is happening to me. Like,
What?
what?
That's right. Well, no wonder I was talking about this. That's why I said, why am I talking about this? But obviously, yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah, and it's like you said. I mean, and I've gone through breakups, of course, but like you said, I was just denying my feelings. Like I know I was eating over it. I was working over it. I was doing all things
Yes.
over it because I was in denial. I just didn't want to face it, or I didn't know how to handle it. And you're absolutely right. It's like, whoa, when you get hit between the eyes with something like this, whether a job loss, family member, someone passing away. I mean, it's hard.
I mean, people commit suicide over things like that. This is like people underestimate invisible losses. I call these losses invisible because so people come to my work, to my website, and they say, "Oh, your work is so good, but I haven't experienced the loss." I say, I always say, I try to help them through that response, because there is no human being on this planet, unless they're 1 year old, or 1 day old, that hasn't experienced a loss.
Yeah.
It's the one human experience that we all get to have. And I do say that grief is an inhuman experience taking place in a human body. And what happens next is evolutionary. Because of that deep pain, we have the capacity to literally break open and grow and become amazing, warrior-like. I feel like I have superpowers because of the depth of my sorrow.
Yeah.
Tell me, how did it change you, and how did your life change after you exited the waiting room, after you exited that busy, crazy time?
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, I lost a job. Now it's like I feel invincible. Like nothing bad like that can happen. Like if I lose another job, oh well, and different things. Like when something is really hard presents itself. I'm a very spiritual person, but like the loss of my grandfather and my uncle, it was really hard for me. And
Yes.
now, like after that, and after the job loss, and after a really hard breakup, I feel like I can do anything. And I know, life's going to give you what, you can handle, right? But I feel, wow, I have actually, lived through that. So now I feel like I can, not bring it on, but I feel like it's just made me stronger in a way.
And I think it changes you completely. I bet some of the things you've done afterwards you wouldn't have done if the losses haven't happened.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right.
And I met so many people who said, if it wasn't for if it wasn't for my husband leaving me, if it wasn't for my loss, I wouldn't be able to do this. I don't even recognize the woman of that. I mean, the reason why the book is successful, the reason why I do this is because, I mean, really, what can go wrong at this point?
Yeah.
Bring it on. Exactly. Bring it on.
Exactly. So I guess what advice, I mean, there's probably so much advice that you can give. And I know there's like things in the book and people need to go get the book, but yes, I know mine's on the way. That's, I'm like, I don't have the book for the interview, but there it is. So what, any kind of like tips, I mean, maybe 3 tips that you can recommend people doing. I know there's so much more in the book, but just to break it down for people in this interview, any kind of advice or anything they can do.
The very first thing that I always say, and I tried to do my reentry process without this step right in the beginning, and it wasn't going well. The very first thing we must do after a life interruption, a loss interrupts our life. It just pauses everything. So the very first thing to do is to get real with ourselves. Get real. really tell yourself the truth, because the first person we lie to about how we feel is ourselves. I bet everyone who's listening to this interview right now is nodding and saying, yes, I lie to myself every day. Yeah. So in that line, no lies. No lies to you. You can lie to other people if you want, but I want you to be honest with yourself, and I want you to write down your truth. So there's a book called Mindsight. The ability to reflect on our thoughts is actually very healing, and it allows for our brain to open up and be able to get better at decision making and have clarity. So I'm not asking people to journal. I'm asking them to reflect on their thoughts while they're writing. So it's not just the action of like, oh, let me just write down everything that's happening. I'm not asking you to download, even though that's called grief plans. There is another step like that. But I'm asking you to reflect on what you're writing. I want you to start getting to know yourself and tell yourself the truth, no matter what. Step number 1, we cannot skip that. This is impossible to bypass. Promise me. Once you tell yourself the truth, and then you start to know what it is that you need what it is that you need in your life forward, and what it is that you now want and who you are, then you start to plug into the life that you want only at 5%. So Step number 2, I don't want anyone to take big steps in the beginning. And there's a reason why I'm asking for that. I'm a trained coach, and I am so used to setting these big goals. By the way, I just did an interview with IPA Coaching.
Oh!
Yes, the other day. Amazing interview. I don't want people to set big goals in the beginning. When we try something really big, our fear center inside our brain gets alerted, and we want to run back into our waiting room and shut the door, lock the door, go back inside and hide. So we don't want to do that. So we just want a very small step. So some people say, okay, I'm going to change my hair color, dress, or I'm going to paint my walls, or I'm going to make a call, or I'm going to change one paragraph on my resume. Small, silly steps. And a lot of people who are listening to this interview are probably very visionary, and they have big goals, and I have big goals. But I would say keep your big goals. I'm not saying stop dreaming big. But when it comes to taking action, when we think about this big goal, we get intimidated. Our brain is like, stay inside. You're going to fail. You should be afraid. What are you trying to do? So we want to stop those conversations inside our head. So do a small thing every day. But and I remember telling Luke about this: dream, act, repeat. Dream, act, repeat. So dream, then take a small action towards the dream, small, and then repeat the next day again. And all of a sudden, you find yourself in a brand new life. And I'm going to give one more step, is that discover who you are. And I guarantee you, if you've gone through or a job loss or a death, you're no longer the same person as you used to be. Don't try to find that person. Mourn the loss of your identity, and then try to discover who you are by making new friends, renegotiating your relationships, saying goodbye to the people that no longer serve you. This is very, very important. I probably lost 90% of the friends that I had because I've changed so much. And it is very important to look at your relationships around you and say, does this fit with my future? Does this relationship fit with who I am today? And honesty in this as well. So I hope this is helpful. I mean, I can talk forever, but I wanted to give tips that are easy to do, and it will change people's lives immediately.
Christina, I love it. So 2 things I love what you said. Well, all of it. I love what you said, but first of all, when you're elevating and you're changing, you're going to lose friends. I mean, I have.
Yes.
It's an incredible experience because, and not that I've lost them, it's I've lost a lot of relationships, but a lot of relationships have just shifted naturally. They just shifted naturally.
Yes.
And it's like, you don't have to do anything. You're elevating, you're changing, and you have to expect it. And it's a beautiful thing because
you're vibrating them out.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
but then you're vibrating in people that are just matching your
Yes.
vibration. It's amazing. And I love your tip: dream, act, repeat.
Repeat. I
Ah,
know. I know. Look, he interviewed me, and I kept saying this to him, and he wrote me a note. He said to me, "That's my own personal mantra now."
amazing. Because you know what? For me, I know action creates like confidence, and it
Yes.
just gets you moving, and it gets your mind even like, oh well, if I can take a small baby step today, I can over time. You're gonna accomplish your dreams.
Oh, absolutely.
Whatever you set your mind to. And I went to IPEC. I
Did you
grad
really?
Yes, I graduated from
Oh my
IPEC, which is
gosh!
crazy.
I did their telesummit, their interview series too. Amazing. I'm not an iPad coach. I'm a results coaching coach, but he was awesome, awesome, awesome.
Yeah, it's an amazing school. That's crazy that you just brought that up. But anyway, so I want to talk. Those are amazing tips. I want to talk a little bit more about, because your success is like. I mean, you have something, I don't know, crazy, like 70,000 fans on Facebook or something, like, I don't know. You're just doing it. It's just popping, right? And your book is like, it's not even out yet. It's like, Hay House had to order like a second
Second printing.
second
Yep.
printing. So can you just like share, like, if someone has a dream or goal, and they have experienced this loss, but they really want something, and they definitely had to take all your tips, and
Yes.
implement them. But can you just share, like, what do you think is contributing to your success? Do you believe in the divine? Like, what anything like material or non-material, intangible, tangible? Can you give us any advice for those people that are like, wow, I really look up to you. Like, how did you do it?
So I love this question because I get so much satisfaction sharing this advice with my own clients, with my coaching groups, and all the people that I serve every day. But the number one tip about being successful in business is get used to being rejected and be okay with that. I cannot tell you the amount of times I got rejected.
Wow.
Many times. And people that I admired as well, even for my book endorsements. I went to someone that we all know, and this person said to me, "No," and I went, "Boo!" I remember I cried, and I cried and cried, and I'm like, why? He doesn't even know me. He doesn't know who I am. He hasn't even looked at my stuff. How could he say no to me? And what did I do wrong? And then I got up the next day and asked someone else. And I wrote a blog about this. Get up and make a bigger ask. And I got up the next day and asked someone bigger. And I got it. And I got then someone bigger and bigger. And I remember thinking I had to get used to being rejected. I got many more no's than yeses, but my yeses were miracle-like experiences. So when you're used to getting no's, you have to let go of your ego, because it's not about you. If you're creating a business that has a bigger purpose and a bigger mission like mine and like yours, that you want to help people transform their lives, this has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with you. I know you agree with me on that. This has nothing.
Yeah, you're just the conduit that
you're a messenger.
Yeah.
And people say to me, "Oh, how did you become a writer?" I said, "I never became a writer. I'm a messenger. That's it. I'm tapping into a collective consciousness every day, and I retrieve the message that belongs in everyone's brain and mind and bring it out into words and into the world. And everyone has access to that, not just me. So get used to being told no. Expect miracles. The amount of crazy miracles that have happened to me, that there's things that the world doesn't even know yet. I am like, is that? And you would have to be at the right time, at the right place, with extreme hard work, opportunity knocking, and everything in between to make these miracles happen. And I don't know how it happened, but I really believe when you work really hard, like I work hard, like I work so hard that I can't work any harder. And you believe in yourself and you believe that one day you will get to where you're trying to get to, then, and it's not about you, then you will be able to get up every day and keep going. So getting to 97,000 Facebook followers, I spend about 2 or 3 hours a day engaging with my audience.
Wow.
So when my book was ready to be for sale, they were there, and I love them. I love my people. I know I have followers on there that have been there for 3 years on that page, and I know them by name, and I know their stories. So when you invest time in your tribe will invest back in you. Period. There's no gray in this. There's black and white. And I don't allow anyone else to post on my Facebook page, meaning I don't have someone who helps me put the message. I post those messages. I don't time them or my message in a bottle on my blog. I cannot prepare that. That has to happen every Friday. I block 2 hours of my day every Friday morning, and nobody can take those 2 hours away from me. It's for my blog, and it's my conversation with my audience. So connect, love them, and make sure this has nothing to do with you.
I love it. I love it. I love everything about what you said, because everyone is a messenger. And you might not think you are.
Oh,
You might be listening to this being like, I don't even know what I want to do. You're a messenger. So some capacity, whether you know it or not right now, you are put on this earth for a reason to make an impact.
Yes.
I love that you said, because, we can get on social media and we see, we can compare ourselves, right? And look at other people and be like, oh my God, how did they get that? And oh, it only took them, it's all this pretty picture, right? Like, oh, I have a 6-figure business and I grew it in like 4 months, And I'm like, really? Like, some people do it. Some people, it happens fast for them. But what people don't know is, what did it take? How many years or how much time or how much energy or how much hustle did it take for you to get that? And I love that you're so transparent and that you shared, like, you engaged, you took the time, you invest your time and your energy, you engage with people. And you hustle and it's hard work. And I love that you said that.
And you have to be willing to put yourself out there and expect to be hated. And people say to me, people hate you. I'm like, oh, yes, they do. But I think that the people who do, someone said to me, you're pathetic. You're trying to make money out of pain. I'm like, what? I mean, doctors do that. Therapists do that. Psychiatrists do that. I mean, what makes me different, right? And I think that there will be those people. And we hear there's going to be haters will hate, lovers will love, and lovers are your tribe. And when you get used to the rejection, to whatever comes, because you have done everything. When I started the book process, I remember a few weeks ago, I said, it doesn't matter what happens now, because there is nothing more I can do. I wake up every morning and I go to bed, and between my wake up and sleep time, all I do is make sure my kids are fed and they go and come back to school. But that's it. It's the book. It's the book. It's the book. It's work, 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 work. So if tomorrow comes and all of a sudden nobody wants to buy my book, which is not going to happen, I'll say, you know what? Maybe I missed something, because there was nothing else I could have done. So if you go out into the world and you fight your fight and you believe in yourself and you know who you are and you're authentic and truthful, not only to everyone else, but to you, and you are okay with being told no, then you'll be good to go.
I love you. I love you. I mean, that is so true. It's so true. I mean, just be who you are, be authentic, get ready to hustle, and
be okay to fail.
And be okay to fail.
I remember when I first put out my Reentry Program, so at the time I had about 16,000 people, and 3 years ago I said, I have all these people, everyone has been asking for more than just posts. They wanted a program. So I put this amazing Reentry Program, which is my book now, on there. And everyone was like, we can't wait to start. And then I did my first call, I did everything, and then I'm like, hey, shopping cart open, ready. Nobody signed up.
No.
And I went, oh my God. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do now, right? What do you do? And having experienced terrible loss makes me say, okay, Christina, you've been through worse. And that's what I'm saying. The people who have gone through difficult things they've lost a job, they're terrible. Like, I mean, getting fired, like that rips away your identity. Being cheated on and left for another woman, or your husband dying at such a young age and leaving you behind with 2 kids to raise all by yourself. I mean, I don't know what else is there, right? So I got up the next day home and I got an email and I started calling the people that I know engaged with me, and I sent emails and I was willing to do the work. And I got, by the end of that week, I had 22 people, and it was not easy, but I wasn't going to give up, because I remember it was like 3 days before the start date and we had like 4 people or 5, and I said, I will not, I I don't care what's going to happen, but in the next 3 days, I'm going to find the rest of the people. And of course, now it's a very successful program. I didn't give it up. I didn't change it. I didn't say, okay, this didn't work out, I'm going to go find something else to do. Don't reinvent yourself before it's time to reinvent yourself. It doesn't, because people didn't just show up knocking on your door, it doesn't mean that they're not there, right? So my reentry program not only succeeded, but it became a publishing deal. I had actually multiple book offers. This wasn't the only one. I chose Hay House because I love them and they're amazing. And we have, so not only those days of the first reentry program are gone, but now I get to share this with my private business clients that are building amazing businesses, and tell them when they come to me and say, but we did everything, how come they didn't come? I tell them, because we need to go and look for them.
Yeah.
And nobody, I mean, you see all these successful marketers that talk about all these things, and nobody tells you that it actually, the first time around, it wasn't like that.
Right.
So I hope this is helpful, because that's how I succeeded. No other way.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your transparency and sharing that, because you're right. Not everyone, you don't know the whole full story, and even with loss, like, you don't know the whole full story. People might be, going through things, but that's why I love your tips, because people can really get to the heart of the matter and do the work.
Yes.
And it's possible. Look at you. You're just a success story. I think you give people hope, from your story to now where you are now. I mean, incredible. It's just,
I would never have imagined it. I could never, I mean, it is, and I know exactly also, like, I have a very clear vision of what it is that you want. Don't, like, there's no, maybe I'll be this or that. I know exactly where I'm going and where I'm heading. And it's going to be a lot of fun. It's not going to be easy, but I think I'm about to step on a 13-city tour. It's not a small thing, but I think I have to choose the road less traveled. I always did. So there he goes.
Amazing. Christina, thank you so much. How can people get in touch with you or follow, like, this tour, or first of all, get the book. Get the
book, and thank you for saying that. The book is truly, you'll create new goals. You will get to find out who you are. You'll stop lying to yourself. You'll discover different parts of you that actually are inside and you don't know they're there. And it's a lot of brain science, but made very simple, put very simply. So I didn't want to confuse people, and I'm not a neuroscientist, so I had to make it simple for everyone. Get the book, go to secondfirst.com, and you will find everything there. The book, the nonprofit, this is going to be amazing next year. But secondfirst.com or on Amazon, Second Firsts, and then it will come up, Barnes & Noble. The book will be everywhere November 4th.
Amazing. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there was just a delay there, but amazing. So Everyone, check her out. Follow her. You're on Facebook. You're on Twitter.
Yes, I am just like
And
you.
I just love everything you post. And you're such an inspiration to me and to millions of others. And I just want to say thank you so much. And I can't wait to finally meet you soon.
I know.
And thank you so much for sharing everything. And if anyone has any questions, they can reach out to you, right?
Yes, and thank you for your time as well. I so appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, guys. Thanks so much. See you later. Bye.